which makes actually doodling with it really hard. Yeah. Reasons. But I might draft some people in to help me with the thing I was trying to do. It might be a tomorrow thing, to be honest, if some people are around. I might just hop on. Okay. Okay, very good. Let's get this Nintendo Players UK SquidLeague match underway. There's the Faz approved overlay. So just as a refresher for anyone that doesn't know, first we play a best of 5 in Turf War, then we will play a best of 5 in ranked games. Maps are random. And that's the fun of it. I'm looking forward to this match today because both Durham and Belfast are kind of both sitting around the middle of the table. Obviously, Belfast have played one more match, but both teams are sort of sitting around that mid-table area. So I'm hoping these are going to be some interesting matches, some let's go, some Durham chants in the chat, and a lovely pistachio emoji. Very good. I have got a 3 ginger infusion, and that is a spicy drink. Spicy. Come on, Durham. Paul, it doesn't take this long to choose a heavy splatling. There we go. Got it sorted. And so we're going into our first Turf War match on the lovely Black Belly skate park. Everyone loves a bit of Black Belly. In pink are your Belfast players, and in green are your Durham players. And here we are in Black Belly. And Paul, is that you with that heavy splatling like I said? Yes, it is indeed. I'm glad it took you that long to choose it. So here we have Paul and Pistol running up. But look at Captain Poss just running right into enemy territory, just right behind Pistol, getting a good splat. And now he is looking to sneak up on Pool, but unfortunately he does not get that and does get taken out. Here's Pool using his sprinkler, taking his position on the tower, as he does love to do. That in-karma there, just keeping Belfast alive. But Pool does get chased down by Captain Poss with that revenge splat, and now some of the Belfast boys are sneaking around the back, but getting pushed back by that big curling bomb special. Captain Poss just keeping an eye out for Durham players, but I think that was Retro Kong sneaking round the back of their base, so Poss is going to get into this scrap now. There we go, does get the splat on Pistol. However, Pool is looking to come back, fighting against that Inkjet with that splatling, and does get taken out by Poss again. Let's check in with Chloe, see what she's up to. All of our Belfast guys are in the middle, a triple splat. In fact, that is a team splat against the Durham team. They now need to get out of their spawn. Easier said than done, especially when that in-karma is soaking up hits. Oh, Pistol getting taken out in the back by Jake sneaking around. Jake almost getting taken out by getting the trade with Paul. And as we head into our last minute, let's take a little look from up above. Durham are managing to get out of their spawn now, but they're not managing to get any sort of hold. They didn't get a full team splat, so Belfast kind of kept the middle, and as we can see, Chloe is still alive and is just picking up that Durham turf quite easily. Retro Kong trying to push forward, but is actually trying to push against quite a few members of Belfast. Oh, he does get taken out by Chloe sneaking around the back. Sasrach, though, with that aerospray, he's looking to sneak past Belfast, but he almost got taken out. I think too many of Durham there were fixated on getting that super jump splat. didn't need to stick around quite so much. Here's Jake. Could have maybe aimed up a little more with that slosher, thrown it over the top. Poole pushing very deep for a heavy splatling player. That was almost needlessly aggressive. And those two big old specials out from the Belfast boys at the end there. That was turned around at the end there. And in fact, was that Durham? It was indeed. Durham did manage to push back out, take that turf, even with 12 splats from Captain Poss, Durham do take the first game. An interesting one, mostly retained after they actually managed to escape. I thought they were pretty trapped in their spawn at the end there, but they did manage to push out. Belfast lost their foothold. I think it kind of helped that Durham spread themselves out and kind of started pushing multiple angles, because that really split the Belfast boys up, and that, you know, they struggled to keep that foothold, and some of the Durham players snuck past. And that's the thing with turf war: if you manage to sneak past, get some of that enemy turf, it's very helpful. So we're now moving on to Manta Maria in turf war. Another map with so this is a map with a very strong middle area. If your team can take the middle and keep the middle, it's much easier in a map like this compared to something like Black Belly to actually take that area and retain it. Black Belly, it's super easy. Like you saw it at the start of that match, when Poss slipped past. It's super easy to get past, but something like Maria, so much harder. And so here we go. Belfast are your yellow team, Durham are your purple team. Poole and Pistol pushing forward quite well, but they are going to meet resistance from the Belfast boys very early. And that is Jake making good use of that slosher from that high ground, forcing Durham to run away. Early bubbler, didn't quite pick up any splats. And that is a double incarmer out from Belfast. Maybe that could have been staggered a little better for them, but it's going to give them the advantage and pick up 2 splats. Jake did get splatted in the process, but they've picked up 2 and they are working on splatting that middle. But Poss, again, we see Poss just going aggressive forward with that gal. He's got the baller ready, which is a good panic special if he needs it. Poss just trying to maintain this corridor now. He's going to use the baller and pick up some nice turf, getting splat on Sasarach in the process. And in fact, Poole was the only player left alive, but that splat from Jake is going to mean that Belfast, again, about the midpoint of this match, have got good control, but they had good control in the last game, and we saw how that ended. Let's check in. Let's see how the Durham boys are going. Poole just trying to scope out, trying to see what the big problem is in there. He gets a lovely splat on Glenn with that burst bomb. Here's Sasarach just using that curling bomb just to try and pick up the enemies, find out where they are, push them away. But here we go. And this is the entire Belfast team going on this big offensive now. We see them, they're all in this corridor. Poss is trying to keep opponents down that slip up the top. This is the sort of control that you can get on a stage like Manta Maria. But Poss is dealing with Poole and Sasarach. Poole gets taken out, Sasarach gets a splat on Glenn. Poss using that bubbler to stay alive though. That Gal is a good weapon for this little area because he can get good angles and keep the opponents back. But that is a bubble blower and a curling bomb launcher out for the Durham lads, and they're going to pick up 2 splats. And again, we're going to the last 30 seconds, and Durham are the ones with the big positive push. Can they win this second turf war again in this last minute? See Chloe kind of going in a bit too deep, and that is Pistol picking up a lovely double splat. And with that suction bomb launcher out, but Paul did actually get taken out. And Sasrach taken out as well. I think Durham might have it again though. And indeed, that is another match that is going to go to our Durham boys. Apologies about the quality of the stream there. I think I may have dropped some frames during that match. Hopefully you still got the gist of it. Chat's all gone quiet though, so what are we thinking? Who are we thinking is the strong members of these teams right now? Who are we rooting for in the chat? I apologise about my squeaky chair. So for our third round of Turf War, we are heading to Schellendorf Institute. This is a map with 2 clear. You've got the up and you've got the down, which means it's like more similar to our first match on Black Belly. This is a map where we can see teams sneaking around a lot, sneaking past, taking obscure routes. Indeed, Orangina, yes, I honestly thought Durham were trapped. They really only came out in that last 30 seconds. They managed to get a genuine clutch hold on the middle. But like we saw in that Manta Maria game, the problem with extending, especially to something like that corridor, that sort of bottleneck on Manta Maria, it can be very easy to extend and then just find yourself splatted. And then you have to bail, and then it's, it's not the best position to be in. Okay, let's hop to the lovely gameplay. And here in the lovely lime green, we have the Belfast crew. And then in purple, we have Durham. Props to Jake and Sasrach for being our spawn turfers, as we can see at the very beginning of these matches. And then we can see Poss is in his usual state, is just running forward and just getting big pressure. And there we see a charge. That is a rare sight, and that's 2 big splats. Glenn with that lovely curling bomb launcher, getting some good turf, but wasn't quite watching his back. And Paul does manage to pick him up, and now has that suction bomb launcher, using it to great effect. Well, I say great effect. Not really that one he plopped on the top there. That's not going to do a lot, Paul. But most of them went to the right place. Jumping now, getting a lovely splat on Chloe, and then returning to the top. Top is obviously a great place to turf from, but the lack of turfable floor means you can very easily run out of ink. Jake getting a trade for his splatted teammate there. And here we see the incoming ready and deployed incoming Tenta missiles, but also Glenn tries to get out some curling bombs there, but I get the feeling that he just pushed a little too far forward. Poole once more getting splattered by Jake. He's got a vendetta against him, or one or the other. Let's take a look from up above. And as expected, Schellendorf, it's kind of 50-50 right now. There's Pistol with his charger, looking for his spot where he wants to be. But as we can see, both teams have kind of taken their natural turf, although Paul is doing a good job of being a nuisance on the far side. However, here's Glenn with a big curling bomb launch in the middle to try and get some of that neutral turf for the Belfast team. And so we're now going into the last minute. It seems fairly even, much more even than our previous matches. That's the problem. If you push too far in the middle on Schellendorf, someone can always just drop down from up above. It's a very risky place to be. RetroCon getting taken out. And that is income. That is 3 splats against the Durham boys. And there's the 4th against Pistol. Well done, Poss. Going into the last 30 seconds, that's a big position for these guys to be in. Income is up. Unfortunately, one of them is down, and Pool and Retro are going to push forward and take all of that lovely, lovely turf. What are they going to do about it? They're going to spot them. They've seen them. They know where they are. If Durham can win this exchange, that could be huge for them. Jake is going to retreat. But here's Pool in the middle, throwing those suction bombs everywhere, and does actually pick up that splat. That could be massive for Durham. But if we zoom out, we're seeing quite a lot of the yellow. And congratulations to Belfast for picking up their first win in Turf War. Hello, Matthias. In this instance, it's my fault for being late because I was having terrible connection issues. But they seem to have all ironed themselves out largely. So we are now 2 for 1, and we are going to Arowana, which again has a very clear middle zone, and obviously the middle gives you this elevated position with which to pressure the enemy's half of the map. Which, if I was to make a call right now, I would say if Belfast are able to take the middle and maintain pressure from the middle, largely from the middle, probably letting Poss push, but like with the other guys hanging back and like push and firing from the middle, I think they've got a good chance. The times we have seen Belfast, the 2 matches we've seen Belfast lose, they largely lost due to overextension, which is why most teams lose Turf War, to be perfectly honest. They got cocky, they thought we can take more turf, we can hold more turf, which instead put them in more compromised positions. Mansperina being an excellent example. That bottleneck, you're more likely to go splatter than if you stayed back. Oh, thank you for the follow, Pithman. The last thing I want to see is Belfast in that kill box. Right near the spawn. Anyway, in the lovely, shocking pink, we have Belfast. In the blue, we have Durham. Jake with the speed. Pool not running straight to the centre, so Jake is going to be our first player with Poss, with those 2 sloshes who are going to make it to the middle. It's quite interesting to see 2 sloshes and then 2 shooters on the Belfast slide, and that's 2 specials going up for Belfast as well. Whereas on the side of Durham, we just see shooter weapons. Shooter weapons for days. Those bubbles could be big if they manage to pop them, but they have just been nullified by Belfast. Belfast are saying no parties, not today. And here we go. Here's Belfast pushing into enemy territory. Potentially risky. Especially when they're going to get a big suction bomb special like that going into the centre. Let's take a little look more at the outside. Here's Poss leaping in with that bubbler. That is 2 splats against Belfast. Retro being a bit more sneaky. Obviously, this is Platoon 2 arrow animals, so we have got some slightly more sneaky routes. And look at that. Retro's just getting past Poss. I don't think Poss noticed him. And now he's in a bit of a scrap with Jake. Does lose that scrap, though. That's going to let Jake get back. Poss doing a really good job of actually holding this middle now. He's got a good view. I presume he's probably on comms to his teammates. Get someone down here, and then as we can see, we also have... We had Chloe up on the walkway, but Chloe has now knocked herself down, unfortunately. And here we have all of Belfast. They've got to watch all of those access points. Big curling bomb launcher, but here we see Glenn pushing forward. With a minute left, let's have a look from up above. Let's see what's going on. Chloe picking up some of that missed turf back at base. But there we go, Glenn getting taken out. And now if Retro, if they manage to get a splat on Poss, then Durham are going to be on the big push again. Albeit his Poss using that ball of pressure and does manage to pick up that splat. I think it's still, no, it's still all to play for in the middle. Paul does get taken out by Jake. That is Inkarma up for Belfast. If they can use this Inkarma to just take and maintain the middle now, they could have this. 15 seconds left on the clock. They just need to be careful. Don't overextend. Don't do anything silly. More Inkarma up for the Belfast team. And I think that one should be fairly easy to call. So indeed, that is congratulations to Belfast. I did predict this one would be close, but here we are actually going into our deciding round of Turf War, which is rather unexpected. And a first for my commentary in the Nintendo Players UK Squid League. I think one of the things that really helped Belfast on that map, Oranginas does say I love Arowana. I love Arowana as well. It is a brilliant map. I think the thing that really helped Belfast with that was their choice of weapons. Those two sloshers just really gave them an advantage in holding the middle. And it wasn't so much even the advantage in holding the middle as Durham's choice of shooters, particularly Aerospray's short-range shooters, gave them a massive disadvantage in pushing the centre of the map. If they'd had more long-range shooters, if they'd had a heavy splatling to shoot from the upper left side, if they'd had a Splattershot Pro to pressure from the right-hand side into the middle, I think that would have given them the range, the ability to win those encounters. But they just didn't have the range, so they were kind of... they had a hard counter against them. That was an uphill struggle for Durham, and unfortunately they couldn't quite make it. But can they make it on Camp Triggerfish? A very different kind of map. A very, very higgledy-piggledy map. There's no real hard hold in this map. You got to really split your team if you want to secure an area, which means you can easily get pushed by an entire team. So we'll see how these teams approach Camp Triggerfish, what weapons they choose. I expect something a little different from the guys. So whoever wins this will win the Turf War. In pink, Belfast. In lovely lime green, Durham. Indeed, only one slight change from the last match, really, on the Belfast side. That is a rapid blaster. While over on the Durham side, we're just seeing still shooters, but we're seeing the hero shot and the end zap. So they are getting back some of that range that they were missing from the last round. Here's Retro being held back by that rapid blaster. Rapid Blaster, a good choice on Triggerfish, because Triggerfish has got a lot of sneaky hidey spots where you can just stay behind something, hide around a corner. As we can see, throwing those auto bombs around the corner. The Rapid Blaster really just allows you to put pressure on those corners and just kind of stop people using them. That was a curling bomb launcher, but Poole quickly put paid to that. And is trying to get a good angle on his opponents. Actually, no, instead he's going to say, I'm going to take your turf. This is all mine now. It's not yours. Sasrach doing some nice base splatting, but he's got that special on deck. Poss again, as we haven't seen, he hasn't moved too far. He's just applying pressure, but I think someone might be sneaking up behind him. He gets a splat on Retrocon. And he does manage to get the splat on Pool as well. Pool can't keep him out. But really we need to see Poss's teammates now actually picking up. Here's Glenn with that special applying some pressure. And in fact, Poss is sitting on a special as well with that launcher. And Chloe has just activated in Karma to try and give her an advantage. Unfortunately getting pushed back by that auto bomb. That's some good auto bomb use by Retrocon. That rapid blaster is really proving to be a nuisance on this stage. That's a really smart choice from Poss. It's just the perfect sort of range to apply pressure in most areas of this map. 45 seconds left on the clock, and we're looking at a pretty tight match. Retrocon is sneaking around though, tidying up some of their base. And Jake also doing exactly the same on the other side. See if Retrocon can deal with Chloe and another. Oh, he's now on the receiving end of that blaster, and he's got a safe Pool. Pool, not the best super jump in the world. If Retro had managed to take out the opponents, it would have been a wise choice, but unfortunately not quite wise. Retro just getting pressured now, not really managing to achieve much, all because of Poss's brilliant blaster. That is a close one. And with a couple of percent, Belfast will be your winners in this best of 5 turf war. So, congratulations to Belfast. Bring it back from a 2-0 deficit to win. I really feel like they developed in terms of their defensive strategies as the matches went on, and just holding back and just sort of maintaining their cool and not pushing forward too much. So a very nice reverse from the Belfast team. So now we are obviously moving on to the second part of this tournament match. So we're moving on to our best of 5 in ranked. Just go drink some of my drink. 'Cause I'm a bit parched. Okay. So, our first ranked game type is going to be Tower Control on Snapper Canal. Those are my controls, just, thought you might want to look at those. Very good. I accidentally pressed that. Durham having long, hard discussions with themselves about their weapon choices. Hello Faz, Ramadan Mubarak. Fasting for you starts tomorrow. How joyous. I should have known, MCM's coming up. So, Tower on Snapper is a really interesting one, just because the tower is so low, really. And it starts in that central area, and it's kind of got to climb its way out. You can really quickly get back to putting pressure on the tower. I wouldn't be surprised to see Poss bringing out that rapid blaster again, given how well it worked for him in that last match. But we'll see. And so, going into this match, in the yellow is Belfast, and in the delightful turquoise is the Durham team. So not quite the rapid blaster, but indeed Poss is rocking that big old accurate blaster. And in fact, over on the Durham team, I think they did both just get splattered, but we have seen 2 blasters on that team. And in fact, just the range overall from Durham's composition now has improved dramatically, but they are just getting pressured by Poss. Poss is just all up in their grill, keeping them back. That's a big splashdown, getting a splat on Sasarach, another splat on Pistol, just using the increased range of his blaster over theirs. Poss applying that pressure. Those little crayons aren't doing much for Durham right now. Oh, but then maybe I spoke too soon. That is 3 big splats. Only Glenn remains, and he's pushing that tower for dear life. Just using that curling bomb launch at the end just to try and do something. Unfortunately, the water of this stage is not actually great. It's Pistol using the speed of that blaster to try and apply some pressure. And that is 3 splats. Only Poss remains. But Poss picks up 1 splat against Pixel. He's going to quickly jump and try and get pressure on the tower. We'll get Sasarach with that splashdown. Oh, and a trade with Pool. So three big splats there. But here we go. Durham have managed to put some points on the board, but they've still got quite a ways to go to even out the scoreboard. But now that the tower is back in the middle, we're seeing them doing a lot more with those blasters. That's kind of big trades all round. Pistol jumping up on the tower. Chloe chasing him off. Glenn chasing him off. Sorry, my apologies. But that is 2 splats. Here's Poss again, looking for that pressure angle. Denying Pool that push. Retro with those bubbles, but the bubbles aren't going to do too much if the rest of your team is going to run away. Retro getting 2 splats there, but unfortunately letting Glenn take the tower does pick up Glenn, so that's 3 splats now. That Stingray is slightly off target, not really managing to achieve anything. Pool with the Tenta missiles out. Let's take a look at his tower defense now. He's got 3 enemies around him, but his teammates' launcher did a really good job then of almost keeping him alive, but unfortunately Poss is getting his good angles now. And again, because the rest of his team almost kept Pool alive, but they weren't really managing to... Oh, that was a lovely mid-air splat from Poss. Good aim. That's the thing with Poss, he's not afraid to just get stuck in and pick up those splats. And now here we see Belfast pushing. Even though they're in the lead, they obviously want to extend that lead. They want to get a knockout, ideally. So they are pushing, but they have just lost the tower to Pool with all those blaster shots. It's quite bold just using Tenta missiles when you're rocking on the tower, isn't it, guys? Very, very blasé, very devil may care. But that's why we like Pool. There we go. Pool, knowing the urgency of taking this tower right now, just wants to get it moving back, but knows he can retreat to try and pick up those splats. Oh, that was an unfortunate trade against Poss. But only Sasarach is left alive with that suction bomb launcher, which he's going to try and use to try and get them off the tower. Never forget that even if you're using one of those bomb launchers, you can always still use your main weapon. And that is 3 splats. Only Sasarach left alive again. Going for the last 10 seconds. Don't think it would be too wrong to call this now, but maybe Pistol's got it in him. No, not quite. Congratulations to Belfast for taking the first ranked match. Let's look at Poss rocking his X rank, just showing it off there. Faz saying you'll probably get taken out 9 times out of 10. Are you referring to Paul's brazen use of special whilst on the tower? Yes. Unless you have very good intel that the rest of the enemy team is still a mile away from your tower, it's just not wise. Not recommended. We seem to have lost a player. We do, now that you say it. Hang on. I am receiving a message from Paul on Facebook. Apparently, Sarah's Switch just ran out of juice. Good. Everyone remember, when you're in a tournament match, just play with your Switch plugged in. It's probably wise. Obviously, what I don't know is at what point Sarah's Switch ran out of juice. Whether or not this is a cause for a replay. But to be honest, well, it depends when it happened. If it happened during like the last minute of the game, then don't think that's a replay. Anyway, how are we all in the chat? Are we all good tonight? Are we all pretty chill? It's a Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. We're all lovely. Well, Faz is lovely. Let me see some booyahs in the chat. Let me see some woomies in the chat. Let me see some hoo-has in the chat. Faz, you watched Deadpool 2. How was Deadpool 2? Was it good? I thought Deadpool 1 was good, fine. Thought it was fine. When's Marvel? Never. Unless you mean Blizz Blue Cross Tag Battle, which is always. I think we are just waiting for Sarah to juice her Switch right now. When's SNK Heroes? Now you see, Faz, you keep calling it SNK Heroes when it's SNK Heroines. So when's SNK Heroes? Never. Do I have a favourite map in Splatoon 2? Do I have a favourite map? I'm trying to think. I have a lot of maps I really like. What's my favourite map? I guess I really like Rainmaker stuff because I really like Rainmaker as a mode, and it's the way it lets you can carry it wherever you want. So I really like maps that are fun in Rainmaker. So to that extent, I really like Gobi Arena for some reason. Just these really nice little tight, scrappy places. But at the same time, if I had to pinpoint one, I really like Walleye Warehouse. I really like Walleye Warehouse, and I do also really like Arrow Animal. I think like narrow maps are just really fun maps where you can really easily see where people are like moving from and going to, and they just have these really nice lines of entry to the stage, but also like really clear engagement points. Yeah, I like those maps. Also, I'm a heavy Splatling user, so I'm probably why I like maps where I can see a long way and just splat you. Paul is having the worst time. What's everyone's favourite? Just got my coat. When Smash Brothers, sometime. You actually have some range. Range is important, especially in ranked game types. People like really sleep on just how critical, just a bit of range is. It's great being able to use loads of ink really close, but range, man, range is just the best. Japan is getting demos in June. That they are. The lucky, lucky people. So what's everyone's favourite Splatoon stages in the chat? Does anyone like Moray Towers? I'm wondering how long we wait for Sarah to get her Switch back on. Also, who's picking up? Is anyone picking up Hyrule Warriors this week? Moray Towers is my least favourite. That is a commonly held opinion. I think the funny thing about Moray is it's got lots of attack. It's got lots of like options to move into the middle from your base, but I think the worst thing about Moray Towers is just how limited it is in terms of attacking the opponent's like side. I just think it's a bit dumb. You didn't know that about Moray Towers, you feel vindicated. Well, the one thing I will tell you is when I was working out rules sets for like the European Championships, when I was speaking to players, the one thing they kept saying is, yeah, any mode of map is fine, just don't do Moray Towers. That was always that was a statement from them. I am finding more people that like Moray Towers, like you got Faz there. But I've been getting like intel from some players to do with our tournaments at MCM next week, and like I've had some people like I think one whose favourite map is Moray Towers. Thank you very much for the host, Mark, hosting this incredibly thrilling stream of me talking over a lobby. Sarah is in the process of turning her Switch back on, everyone. Am I hearing the hot goss? You're only so much hearing that people don't like Moray Towers, that's all you're hearing. You're tempted by Warriors. To be honest, I'm really excited for tennis. I think tennis could be really fun. And yeah, the demo is going to be great. Iceman says Walleye Warehouse is a favourite of mine, and that's why I like you, Iceman. Oh, fast falling with the Julies on Moray is fun. Yeah, that's fun. Moray Towers did nothing wrong. Moray Towers did a lot of things wrong. Mario Tennis Aces has you very concerned. Concerned? That's interesting. Let me hear your concerns. I want to hear concerns. My only concern with that game is just that right now it seems that like with Mario Power Tennis, I don't see why. Because with Mario Power Tennis, where you had the power shots, it was always just better to hold the super shot back, just so that when your opponent uses the super shot, you just use your super shot like instantly, and then it just purely functions as a counter. And the only thing I'm worried about with Aces is it's kind of going along the same lines of, it's like, well, why would I use the direct power shot if I can just save my meter and then do the slow-mo run thing? It's going to come down to like which tactic uses less meter ultimately, really, I assume, because then you're going to want to just build your meter to use the super attacks. But I don't know, I can't really comment. I haven't played it, so I can't really comment fully until we play it, and we're all going to be playing it soon, so it's all good. Yeah, not a fan about the regional skews either. I don't know what it is about Camelot, because they did it with Mario Tennis on the 3DS as well. They had it regional.